fellow masters, liverymen, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, as the clerk said, welcome to Stationers' Hall, and how wonderful it is to see our hall so full of, one could say, active gunnels with fellow livery companies. You've come in such numbers that we actually have almost as many on our waiting list. But at least the walk could not have been much shorter, aiming as we do to be the hall closest to St. Paul's. It was, after all, around the walls of the predecessor building back in the 14th century that the writers, illuminators, bookbinders and suppliers of the necessaries for that trade set up shop, distinguished by their fixed positions from their itinerant brethren. I didn't say internet brethren, their itinerant brethren. They were nicknamed stationers, and their goods became known as stationery. I thought that I'd like to get that clear. But since they are here, I thought I might add that the rather posher scriveners stuck to their ink and pen last, while we bowed to force majeure, embraced printing, a few centuries later newspaper making, and now digital media. And thanks to this evolution, like a proper modern company indeed, we retain a trade qualification for membership of our 900-strong company, which includes 20 or so corporate members. Now, happily, I suspect, the hall our ancestors made out of a home purchased on this site was destroyed in the Great Fire 349 years ago. I mention that only because I think it's a prompt to make sure that we're all thinking about how we're going to join in those great celebrations, if that's the right word, in September next year. The hall that you are in today dates from that time, and the panels almost intact, apart, that is, from an incendiary incident witnessed by the musicians a couple of years ago. There they are, in the posh suite. Happily, the musicians managed to evacuate without greater loss than anything than their dinner. We did try to blame them, but it was an optic fibre light in one of the display cases that did it, apparently. Musicians, you are, of course, extremely welcome. And anyway, I think that's enough of history. But hopefully, long enough for any stragglers to have made it across the road. It is our tradition, indeed, to check that you are all here as our way of introducing and welcoming you individually. So, firstly, primed, I hope, the Carmen. Now I have to pause because the last time my eyes slipped over the next company, and I have to apologise to their master each time I see him. So, the Chartered Architects. And the Farriers. The Fruiterers in their private suite. The Honourable Company of Air Pilots. The Horners. The Information Technologists. The Musicians. Did the fire wardens stifle you musicians? The Needlemakers. And welcome, because as this is now your home, Master Jeff there. The Pattern Makers. New master, it's already 2 years ago, I think. The Security Professionals. Sound voice. The World Traders. And what a wonderful lecture you had the other evening at the Guildhall. The Solicitors. But not least, the 800-year-old company, the Woolman. Wonderful, rocking fire. And especially mentioning their master, Richard Excel, who will speak to us briefly later. So we're so glad that you're all safely here and ready to enjoy what we hope will be a fine lunch. I was reading one of those research pieces in which newspapers and magazines seem to fill their pages. Apparently, the Japanese eat very little fat and suffer fewer heart attacks than the British or Americans. On the other hand, the French eat a lot of fat and also suffer fewer heart attacks than the British or Americans. The Japanese drink very little red wine and suffer fewer heart attacks than the British or Americans. The Italians drink excessive amounts of red wine and still suffer fewer heart attacks than the British or Americans. Conclusion, eat and drink what you like. It's speaking English, what does it?